The Big Issue. Breaking down the issues that matter.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Leadership Podcast. It's another edition of The Big Issue. And of course, without taking much of your time, we're going to the big issue of the day, which is 2023 polls. The candidates Nigerians should vote for as legislators. With me here in the studio, our in-house analyst, Silas Ezogu.
You're welcome to that.
And of course, we have our very special guest here. And of course, he is here to join us on the big issue based on the sensitive nature of the big issue of the day. And of course, I'm talking of Mr. Segun Osofisa. Segun is the founder and director of the SO Foundation and Civic Voices. It's a pleasure having you with us.
I'm very, very thankful.
Yes. All right. And for the big issue, Nigeria is preparing to hold its 7th consecutive general election since the country returned to democracy in 1999. The elections will coincide with the 24 years of uninterrupted democracy. And of course, the longest in the history of Nigeria since the transition from military to civil rule in 1999. And of course, as such, there are key issues that can shape the quality and credibility of the polls, especially the crop of politicians the electorate should vote to represent them at the National and State Assembly. Of course, we all know that the parliament is a citadel of representative democracy where policies through laws are made to serve common good. It is a place where appropriations or budgetary details are constructed in the language and data of the development plans. And if any democracy is on the brink as a result of executive excesses or mediocrity, the representatives of the people can rise up to the occasion to call the tyrannical executives to order. In the United States, the Congress saved their country from threats of tyranny in a bipartisan mode early this year. And of course, in Nigeria, as the 2023 elections draw nearer, we know that some lawmakers, especially senators, will not return to the red chambers because most of them lost their party ticket during the primary election and so cannot contest in the main elections, though some of them willfully relinquished their senatorial seat to seek higher positions. For instance, a federal high court in Damaturu, Yobe State, ordered the All Progressive Congress and the Independent National Electoral Commission to recognize Bashir Machina as Yobe North senatorial candidate of the party. And that means Machina was replaced. The Senate President, Ahmed Lawan, was replaced with Machina. And somewhere in the South, the Abuja division of the Court of Appeal set aside the judgment of the Federal High Court, removing Godswill Akpabio as candidate of Akwa Ibom West Senatorial District. But at the end of the day, Akpabio now lost again, where he is no more going to be elected as a senator representing that zone. And of course, we are talking about a former governor who went to the Senate, returned as minister, and is seeking to go back to the Senate. Well, the crux of what we are saying in essence is what type of people should be elected? Should we recycle old politicians, or should we think of new crop of young Nigerians who can actually represent the people? But before that, I think we can start with our guests and let's just see what you will tell us about how the country's legislature, both at the national and state levels, have been able to fare so far. And how has Nigeria benefited from the second arm of the government since 1999.
Thank you very much, sir. It's my pleasure to be here. Yes, I'd like to introduce myself as the person that you see as a partner in the process of election of credible and putting your best foot forward in terms of the parliamentary arm of government. What we are all about is we want to show Nigerians and the electorate what to look at and issues to see in order to vote, credible people. Right now, the the performance of the ninth legislative house is it, well, let me say it can be. There are so many things to be desired of from them. I wouldn't want to go into a flurry of problematic issues they've caused. I would rather say they've done their best in the capacity they know how to do. But if you look at it, we are reflection. Our leaders are a reflection of us, we the people. And so, for us to get that kind of productive legislative house, National Assembly, where bills are passed that stand in representative of the many and not the few, we electorates will need to really educate ourselves. We will need to look at the issues. We need to step aside from the razzmatazz, I would like to say, of politicians right now. The kind of entertainment they give us distracts us from the real issues that we all need to look at. And so, if you have a platform of organized citizens where community leaders, stakeholders, and statesmen come together and say, enough of partisan arguments, let's look at the real issues. Because these legislative are actually for everyone, both all the parties. Once they enter office, they assume office for everyone. So it's really, really about the people, not the legislative house.
Well, thank you very much. You heard what Sophie San has actually said here. That the performance of the ninth legislature, whether at the state level or at the national level, leaves much to be desired. And of course, he actually acknowledged the fact that they actually did what they would have done based on their capacity. And that now takes us to the quality of people we elect to the legislature to represent us in Nigeria. See, we have at least strong voice. Most Nigerians are of the opinion that if we have at least very strong voices, there would have been more robust legislative service and representation. And we are talking about hardworking, resourceful, and research-oriented members who will guarantee better service delivery, even at the executive arm. But in the past, Silas, we've been seeing that the National Assembly here, you see members going there to do a lot of stuff. And most of them have not even presented even one bill. Then, for instance, look at the 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 Senate now has become a retirement ground for governors who would have served out their term in the states. They now retired to this, and you see most of them are the ones that constitute the red chambers. And it is a worrisome situation because they are not there because they are qualified. They are there because they have the power of incumbency to manipulate themselves to be elected as senators. Don't you think these issues are things we should look at? And Nigerians should begin to imagine. We will think of how to consider swinging their votes when it comes to this old crop of politicians.
Yes, George, thank you for that question. Even kind of brushed it in a way that I was thinking about already. Now, look at like I just said, the performance of the legislature in this Senate Assembly has not been very, very wonderful. Okay, I want to put it mildly. Okay, and even got, and I'm not even ashamed of that. When the Senate president said whatever they bring to his press, he will sign it. Whatever the president present for him, for the Senate, he has it. He can be sure to get it, endorsed, accepted, and and passed by the Senate. You know, when the government is complete, the idea of separation of powers and so on, it is that, and checks and balances, it's for the legislature to be a check on the executive, and the legislature to be a check on the others as well. So that's why they are there. But when you have, made yourself a tool in the hands of the executive, they have capacity to check. They have, given it away. And that is why you find that they say that in the British Parliament, the reason cannot do is to change a man to a woman and vice versa. That is the importance of the legislators. They make the law, they amend laws, they have power of appropriation, they have power of oversight. So that when the executive are criticized, I reserve a chunk of the criticism for the legislative arms of government, both at the state level and the national level, because they know what's in the budget. They supervise the executive in implementation. So if it's not working well, they have the power to even impeach. They have the power to call them to order. But if they are not doing that, and the executives are getting away with blue murder, then they have a question. And what we find out most of the time is that they are in cahoots. They also have, some of them have, because they know what's in the budget, they have companies which they have interest in, which go behind to bid for these projects. And whether it is executed or not, they'll also sign it off because it comes back to them in oversight. And if you talk to those who are working in the government sector, they tell you that whenever even they come from oversight, they also give them something. So the legislature in Nigeria has been compromised so much so that the power to do their job, has been impaired. Just like we were talking about the judiciary, also having swept over by the politicians in the corruption that goes on. Now you can get all kind of judgment. The same thing has happened to the legislators in Nigeria. So this argument, just the discussion I'm making today, is important because we need people of character, competence to be there, because what they do there is so important. People look only at the executive. The executive should be afraid of, because these are the representatives of the people. This is why whenever the military strikes, they send away the National Assembly.
So you are sensitive.
Yes. So that is the democracy we're talking about. The executive will be there either in the military form or even in a monarchy system. The judiciary will be there. Whenever the military strikes, they move this. So that is this is democracy. The house of democracy is in that place. So if they're not doing their job well, that's why the government is not working. And they don't seem to realize the importance of what they're doing. Otherwise, they will know that if this democracy is not working, Nigerians say, look, this is not working, and the military comes back, they're the greatest losers. So they need to actually sit down and refocus on their job. Now, you think about the kind of people that have come there. You said it, even took it out from the mouth. It should not be a retirement ground. What to find, and this cascades also to the State House of Assembly. What you find is that the governor.
Yes, I think, sorry, I will cut you short at this point because you have stated, I think we are still at the stage of the statement of the problem. I think we will come to where we will now talk of the kind of Nigerians that should be elected.
Yeah.
Because I still want us to emphasize on what you just said there. Just like what Silas said, look at what the leadership of the current session of our bicameral federal legislature is. Where in the world will the presiding officers of a legislature begin to tell the president, Mr. President, will accept without any question whatever what you bring to us, because they will be good for the nation. Even without scrutinizing them, they will be good for the nation. That is rubber stamp.
Yes. That tells you how disengaged they are from citizens. That tells you so many. That I can easily interpret that this same person that uttered that statement does not really represent the true picture of his constituency.
And this explains why maybe he could not be coming back, because that is the Senate president.
No, he said he played a game to run for president and he got fired. And he went to come back and the door had been closed.
And it's not for the fact that he was struggling to take a shot at the presidency.
He would have gone back.
He would have gone back.
Yes.
You see, that's why where people like us, we have to start speaking out and speaking up. People need to take back their power. People need to understand that the power is really, really in their thumbs. It's not a situation where one arm of government captures the entire National Assembly. It can't be business anymore. It can't be like the way people just sit down and relax and say, we don't really care about the elections of the legislative house. Because whether you like it or not, whatever they do still affects you. It comes back to you, whether you want to feel engaged or not. It's still, so it behoves on millions of Nigerians to know who these guys are and why they are, what they represent. The other day, I heard that there were some Yahoo boys that found themselves inside the legislative house. The other time, it was a drug baron from the America that sneaked into the National Assembly. You see, if you don't prevent, my people say prevention is better than cure. Now, if you have a wolf knocking at your door and you don't have a good key to that door, he easily enters and devours your children. But if you have a structure where that door is locked, before the man enters, you would ask so many questions. That is where Nigerians are lacking in asking this issue, critical questions on where are these people coming from? Who are they? Right?
Yes.
Do they have our interests at heart? So this is not a partisan issue anymore. I keep on saying it. We have associations that can stand up to, at community level, can stand up to engage these people when they come for constituency talk. Right? I did a research. We're about to publish a research. Those senators, those House of Rep that actually use simple tools of communication like Twitter. Just simple communicating to each other on their progress done, issues that they are looking at, is not there. It's not existent.
Engage the people robustly.
So you see, it's a broken system.
Yes.
It is a broken system.
Well, thank you, Mr. Osofis, and let's. I think before we come back to round up, we'll quickly take a short break.
Okay.
Hoping that by the time we come back, our viewers might actually contribute constructively to the conversation on the big issue. Don't go offline. We'll be back in a moment.
Thank you, sir.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
The Big Issue. Breaking down the issues that matter.
Welcome back. We are still on the big issue in Leadership Podcast. And of course, the big issue of the day is 2023 polls and the candidates Nigerians should vote as legislators in the forthcoming general election. Well, we were talking, Sophie, and you spoke about even Yahoo boys finding their way into National Assembly and the state assemblies.
Yes.
And of course, that goes a long way to show you that Nigeria electoral system is still dominated by money politics.
Yeah.
Once you have money, you can get this elective office.
Yes.
Without nobody looking at your antecedent, whether you have the credentials giving you the quality to be elected into the parliament to represent them.
Yes.
And of course, while it is so, we cannot just blame the system only. Nigerians, too, on their part, have not done themselves well because they are being influenced by what we call money politics. Somebody comes, buy bags of rice, distribute it,
Yes.
give them money. At the end of the day, that was just enough.
Mm.
That is enough credentials giving him the quality to be a representative of the people.
Yeah.
And I think these are issues we should look at.
Yes.
You were saying, just like you were saying, I think as you say it, let's just look at how can we orientate Nigerians, give them that kind of orientation that should make them understand that they should not mortgage their future for just some little change.
Yes.
Just like the biblical lesson, a soul is better right for a pot of porridge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much for that question. We have what we call town hall meetings. We are doing town hall meetings, a series of engagement across the states. And how do we proceed? It's all about conversations, all right? When you have the right conversations, you have the right outcomes. If you do not have that conversation, as we speak, we don't have a situation where we have the town hall meetings for this senatorial and federal House of Rep. You see a lot of distraction towards the presidential and governorship, which in
It's at the
itself
presidential level that tell us we see town hall meetings. We have never seen even one.
it's an issue. It's a big issue. You know why? Because you can actually call, okay, I can't get to my governor. For instance, Ogun State or Lagos State, I can't call my governor. But guess what? I can actually call my House of Rep member within a week or 2 weeks. He comes to listen to me. That is what we call representation. That's what we call the other arm of governance. The whole system of democracy is made up of 3 parts. And if one leg is broken or 2 legs are broken, the whole system will be affected. So how do citizens connect? Citizens connect by forming organized communities. You have at the lower level, you have communities like the association, the youth groups, right? You have the civil society. Yes. And so the town hall meetings we are doing right now is about getting people into rooms and having conversations with them. We are going to Lagos. We're having something for the local government's Federal House of Rep, Etiosa. And we really want people to come in and connect and listen to those quality conversations about what is your manifesto as a rep? What is your manifesto as a senator? How do you intend to solve issues like traffic? How do you intend to solve issues like information, transparency, cost of governance? All these are issues that need to be put at the front burner, not people selling their birthrights. We've had a flurry of activities that I will say entertainment activities that do not add value to the elections. So right now, we are actually forming a coalition of different NGOs who will come and bring those issues right at the doorstep of citizens within that community.
So how are you people faring? At the end of the day, I think
That
that initiative is even very constructive. But you can have this thing across the country.
Yes.
So
we are looking for collaborations from tested institutions like the Christian Association of Nigeria, some of these old 50 years, 100 years institutions to come and back us up. We have the Teachers Association, we have the Dental Association, you have the Pharmaceutical Association. Let me say one thing here. A lot of people respond to bad governance by leaving the country. I want to say here that if you leave the country for 30 years, you still come back and meet the country.
In the same
So I like to appeal to those people abroad. You might be watching this program. I would like to say, please connect with us on social media. Connect with us right now. Encourage people to come together to form organized conversations. We are actually having a platform on Twitter, on Instagram. We are actively looking for partnerships to bring in these things. It takes money actually. We're having syndicated radio sessions for 1 hour, 40 minutes across certain cities. And we really, really want to encourage everyone who is listening to me to come and support us. Thank you.
Well, you see, these are platforms that we should think of creating so that at the end of the day, they can engage Nigerians robustly by way of town hall meetings, so that at the end of the day, just like it brings us back to what you were saying initially, the kind of people Nigerians should think of voting in 2023, as against number one. I think we've had to see different kind of lawmakers, characters, like the one from Edo State, Patrick Obayegbon, who came and blew grammar, or the people became
Nothing came out
confused.
of it.
They refused to elect him. I think the people were completely consternated by his very, very flamboyant and bombastic language. At the end of the day, they felt that is not enough. That does not translate to fair representation.
I think Nigerians are just taking over.
Yes,
Entertainment.
yes, we have so many other senators.
They're all clowns and
You see them
singers,
fighting.
musicians, some senators.
Since some of them go to sex shops, they go and fight, and beat them up.
Beat them up.
You know, and then look, it is even worse at the state levels. Because if you can hardly get to the. Well, let's now we're going to have rivers. So thank God for rivers. Well, thank God, hoping that it will deliver as we expect. But at the state level before, if you're not in the governor's camp, you can't get to the House of Assembly. It's their talks.
Yeah,
their talks, their cultists, the people they used to kill and destroy other people that qualify to become members of the House of Assembly. If you are not there, you can't get to them. And when they get there, they're just rubber stamped.
Can I tell you?
Go ahead.
Yes. We did a small research and we found out that people have voter apathy towards the legislative election.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I think they're more interested.
I don't know why.
No, it's because in the past,
I don't understand.
votes didn't count at the state level. The talks carry the ballot box, they stuff it. Whatever the governor says is what's going to happen. So they feel that governor will naturally put his people both at the local government level and at the state legislature. So at that point, the people feel, look, whatever we do, the governor will have his way. But now we have
changing.
now that we have rivers,
How do you think it will be different this time around?
right now that things are
It's a simple majority vote. It
No,
means that
we
you don't
do
have
rivers
you don't
now.
need 2/3 of the electorate to get to win to get into that post. I did a small search, sir. A constituency like Etiosa local government that has majority literate people, business leaders, you have smart people in that community.
they don't come to vote.
They didn't come to vote.
Yes.
The last 2019 election, one of the House of Rep won by just less than 100,000. In a voters total vote, according to INEC, total registered voters was close to 900,000. It means that 1/10 of the 70% of the people actually did not vote, or they just voted for party. They don't even know who they are voting for.
It's like that.
So, Silas, as you were saying,
Yeah, I'm saying that at the state level there, the governors had. That's why the governors behave like emperors in Nigeria, but there's no check and balance in the state. Let me give you an answer. In 1999, when the sitting governor became governor, the people who tried to push, because people there, nobody was in charge. Everybody came to the office and sent the governors, the senators, and go. So the governor had not started exerting their pressure on the senators. So a few guys who tried to insist on certain things, so then got killed. One mistake, one chief they mistook him for his brother. Yeah. They were looking for the man and got his brother. The other guy ran away, and that told the other people like cannot oppose the governor in the assembly there. And that even now, if you go to that state, if you are not in the governor's camp, you can't become anything. You can't even get there. And I don't want to talk to the other ones. I know because I'm close. I know, but what I'm saying that makes it that they cannot make any robust laws for the state. They're just there to close their eyes and go away. And look, hoping that government will appoint them to something else. The same thing for local government. The same way the governors have killed the state assembly. That's not have killed the local government system. They collect all the money of state government and give them money for their assembly, and that's stuff. That's why the local government system is dead. Something has to be done about our governors. They don't want to create democracy at the grassroots level and at the legislative level. So, but I thank God that this battle has come. I know that this first time people will still be questioning whether it will work or not. After this election and the results come out to be what people expect. I mean, like going forward, the people will have more confidence to come and vote because their votes will not begin to count. We need people actually who have character, people who think about the community, not just about themselves, to make law, because lawmaking, oversight, appropriation, that's governance.
That's serious business. That is serious business.
Thank you, my brother. Well, that is where we draw the curtain for the big issue of for today. And before we go, we'd just like to leave this with you, that legislative power is the distinctive mark of a country's sovereignty and the index of its stature as an independent state. In the light of the above, we should not continue to allow charlatans and never-do-wells to be in the National and State Assembly, where the majesty of democracy is supposed to be celebrated. Thank you for keeping tab with us, and of course, I will thank our in-house Silas for addressing the big issue. And of course, our very special guest, Segun Osofisan, the founder and director of the SO Foundation and Civic Voices. It's nice having you here.
Yes, and you can also reach me. I don't know if you permit me to say.
No, of course, you will free.
090 189 82821.
Okay. Well, join us same time tomorrow for another edition of The Big Issue. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.